If you're a young person watching this, invest now, invest consistently, and continue to grow and see it compound over time. But if you're older and you feel like it's too late or you feel like you missed out on a lot already, the best time to start investing was yesterday. So do it today, man. And if you think it's too late, it's better to start now than never. And if you're young, man, invest now. You have to learn and you have to do your research and you have to be consistent and not get emotional with all the market swings. And not only investing in stocks, but also investing in your health, in your skills, in different income sources, in abilities, in everything, man. Invest in yourself completely. But if you're young and you're not investing into the market, whether it's a brokerage, a 401k, a Roth, or anything like that, do some research and start investing. Me personally, I have a more conservative approach when it comes to investing, and I like to keep it as simple as possible, but I do, of course, want some growth. And I'm not giving out financial advice, but what I personally do is invest in ETFs, and the one I mostly invest in is VOO, which is a ETF of the top 500 companies in the US, and that's what I invest in the most. I do have some international ETFs. I do have some growth ETFs. I do have some like medium growth ETFs and some small cap ETFs. But majority is the S&P 500 and the second one probably is international. But I'm really heavy on the S&P really. And you got to keep it simple, especially if you're not going to be on top of it 24/7. Because if you're going to do your research on every company, look at the reports, look at their income, looking at all these different things, then go ahead and invest in individual stocks. But if you're not going to be doing all of that, in a way, you're taking a risk. You're taking a gamble. That's why I like to go with ETFs. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, do some research, learn a little bit, and then start investing. There's a lot of different brokerages, there's a lot of different things. And then once you have an idea and a set plan, the easiest thing to do, man, straight up, just find a good ETF with a low expense ratio on the S&P 500. Invest in that consistently without changing the fund and without selling no matter what the price is yet, man. Hold it for the long term and keep contributing to it. And then as you learn more about ETFs, investing, and all these different things, add things to that portfolio, whether it's in your 401k, your brokerage, whatever it may be. But start with that. Because when you first start investing, one thing I did a lot of was selling and buying, not just because of the price swings, but because I changed my investments. I went from individual stocks to then I went to dividend stocks, then I went to ETFs, then I went back to dividends, then I went back to stocks, then I went to ETFs again. And doing that didn't let me or I didn't allow, why do I sneeze like every video? You know what I mean? But it didn't allow me to let it compound, because that's the most important thing. Time in the market versus timing the market. So the more you invest in an ETF and let it compound over time with reinvesting dividends and everything, that's when you will see the growth. But if you keep switching investments and you keep selling when you get scared and emotional, you will not let it do what it needs to do and compound. You get what I mean? And this is something that I had a lot of trouble with when I first started investing, because I was new, I was emotional, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So if you're new, literally just keep it simple. S&P 500 fund. I personally do VOO again. not financial advice. But I do VOO. I would just say do that, or that's what I would do, right? VOO, keep investing. As I learn more, add different things, international growth, or if you want more of a dividend approach. But there's like a whole lot of drama between dividend and growth, and I'm not even gonna get into it, right? Or if you like technology, do a freaking technology fund, or a whole bunch of different things. But do some research and just stay consistent with at least the S&P 500 as you do your research. You get what I mean? And don't get emotional and don't flip flop. That's the thing. And depending where you are in life, right? If you have debt, work on cutting that out. If you have skills, and this is another part, investing isn't just in the market, it's investing in yourself. Whether it's your health, whether it's your skills, your certificates, your degrees, whether it's developing certain skills that you may need for business, whether it's starting a business, whether it's creating different income sources. Investing is everything revolving around you. You get what I mean? So, first and foremost, of course, invest in the market. And after you do that and have that consistency with that, man, start investing in different aspects of your life, like yourself, increasing your skills, increasing your capabilities, increasing your worth in a way, right? So that you can go out and create these different income sources. So then you can invest more. You get what I mean? Because if you're stuck in one level, you will only have that certain amount of growth. And if you're at a low level, man, like myself, if I stay at the factory job, I'm capped out at what I can invest and I'm capped out at that growth. I can cut back as much as I can cut back on like expenses is as much more as I can invest, right? But if I take the time, which I'm going to do, to create a new income source for myself, to learn new trades, skills, and progress either at work or outside of work, whether it be freelance work or a side hustle, a business, then I also have that extra income right there to continue to invest on top of what I'm investing right now. And saving, pinching pennies will only let you invest a certain amount more, man. Because at the end of the day, there are fixed expenses every month that you got to pay for. And the only way to really increase that investment is to increase your income, whether it's side hustles, businesses, whatever it may be. The only way to invest more is to now increase your income because you have the investment down. Now it's time for you to grow as an individual, as a person, and not even just in business, man, but as an individual, emotionally. You know, one thing for me, I'm gonna start reading books. I had started reading books like 2 years ago, and before that, I hadn't read since like high school. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna start reading. I'm gonna pick it up again, man, because I was doing good with reading, and I really wanted to read because I felt kind of not dumb, but like I wanted to increase my speech. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like feeling like I have nothing to say, or like I I don't like not being able to express myself, or like now how would you say it? You see, I can't even think about it really, but like reading for me will increase my vocabulary, my intelligence, different little things, my storytelling. Probably even this is increasing that. You know what I mean? And that's why I like doing this. But that's all an investment. That's all things that I'm improving or working on myself outside of the stock market and all these different things too. And that's what I mean, especially when you're young, is the time to be putting in that work, those investments. So then as you grow older, it will compound and it will start to pay dividends nicely, man. Nicely. But invest now because if you find yourself in a situation like me, no degree and still figuring things out, working in a factory. You do not want to be there for the rest of your life. I talk to people at work. Everybody has different experiences and a different life, of course. But everybody also has a different mindset, man. Some people at work are investing a normal amount. Some people are investing heavier, like myself. Some people aren't investing at all. Some people are in debt. I see older people that are like look miserable and worn out completely, man, where they're literally just working to the point where they can retire, but they can't even retire because they might not even have enough to retire. And they already so worn out, but they still have to show up because they have to pay the bills. And you don't want to be stuck in that situation, man. And it's such a sad thing to see, but it's a reality that can be your reality. If you don't put in the work right now to invest in yourself and your future. And money is not the answer to everything, and it's not what will bring you happiness. You know what I mean? It's not. But it is important to invest in this stuff now, man. Especially while you're young and while you have that time for it to compound and grow. That's your best friend right now. And you have to do that. You have to do that. I'm gonna say you have to do that just because like I really am passionate about investing and growing the income sources and growing your overall portfolio. You know what I mean? That's really what I'm passionate about. So I say you have to do that. You don't have to, man. But a few years down the line, if it hits you like it has hit me, you will realize, like, damn, I should have probably started earlier. And I did start earlier, but I freaking end up losing money, or I sold too much. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot of learning experiences. But if you're young, man, start investing now and let that compound. And also invest in yourself. Learn and grow, man. Take care.